We're studying GCSE English as a second language, and we're starting the review writing revision 2. To recap, in the last class, we looked at the format. What are the formats? How many paragraphs you have? What key points are there? What style do you have to use? We looked at a few style things as well. We looked at punctuation, and we looked at, that's it. We looked at punctuation and clauses. Today, we're going to continue that. Let's see. Review writing division 2. The agenda is write a review, focus on style techniques or style and literary devices. Say style and content. Now, quickly, from your notebook, please tell me first, Lula, how many paragraphs do we have in review writing?
4.
4 paragraphs. Let's go back here and let's check. Now, if I focus over here, we'll see that we indeed have 4 paragraphs for review. Now, Rania, could you read the paragraphs we have? Only the names.
First, introduction. Second, plot. Third, opinion. And fourth, recommendation.
Recommendation. Now, recommendation has who and why as well. Let's start with a few things. We'll try to look at the introduction first, all right? And we'll keep all of these style techniques in it. Firstly, I'll show you a review writing question so we can solve that.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
The teacher said in the class that the 4 paragraphs might or can be 3. Since if you don't have so much to recommend, can we just join the last 2 paragraphs together and make them 3?
Not at all. That would be awful. Disastrous. Why? Because we need appropriate paragraphing. We need a proper structure. We can't just join things together. That would be awful. Why? Again, we need a proper structure. So when, let's say I want to do suggestion should happen its own paragraph, all right? And what does it mean that you don't have enough things to write? Because I'll show you a question, just a second, Lola, no worries. We look at the question. We did talk about this in the next class, in the last class, that about the content and how many words should we write. Can we look at that? Let's see. Can you see the question on the screen? Guys, can you see the question on the screen?
What question?
The review writing, partial question. Is it on the screen? Yes, no?
No.
No. Now can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. Now what's happening in this right here? But what we realize is that, well, this is the partial question. Okay. Let's see. Quickly, someone has to read the question. Najla, read.
Your school magazine is compiling a list of popular books. Write a letter to the magazine editor in which you recommend a book. Your letter should be about 150 words.
Words, all right. Safa, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I don't think you have done the homework, so I'm not allowing you to stay in this class. Okay? You have to do the homework right now, and when you submit it, then you can join the class.
Okay.
Guys, continue. This is they're compiling a list of popular books. Okay, you have a popular book, which a lot of people like. Now they're asking you, what is your popular book? What would you recommend? So what is this? Let's look at the question first. The question is a review. It's a letter. Actually, just a second. Okay, so this letter is actually like a review. Let's remove this. It is a review. We need to realize is even though they're saying letter, it is a review. Why? Because they have the title, content of the book, why you liked it, who would you recommend it to? Okay, now we have a review writing here. Now it's about a book. So what kind of review is this? Let's write the format, purpose, audience. The format is book review. Who are you writing to? Or what kind of people are going to read your review? Quick. Any suggestions? Luna? Audience. In this case, the audience are going to be, let's say, school students, because it's a school magazine.
Parents,
All of those people. Parents,
teachers,
okay,
students, teachers.
right? Students, teachers, all of these. So when you recommend it, you should make sure that you know who you're recommending it to. You can't recommend it to, let's say, adults or perhaps other kind of people, right? Because especially it's you can't recommend it to office workers. You can't mention that office workers like this book, because that's not relevant. It's for a school. Dan, what about the purpose?
Educational.
Purpose, say that again, Brianna. What is the purpose?
Educational.
Educational. Okay. So let's say the purpose actually is all of this is your purpose. Okay. And it should be something educational. All right. That's fine. It can be something educational, but it's not compulsory, right? Now, these are the purpose which you have. You have to write a purpose. Now, what you need to make sure is, if this is 150 words, you need to write about 150. You have to divide equally between them. So let's say, well, the first paragraph will not be much. Let's say 50, 50, 50. Okay. Let's start this. What was the first paragraph? You have the first paragraph that has Anas, can you hear me?
Yeah.
What is the first paragraph?
Uh,
No?
author name, book name,
Book name, and
the characters.
all right. Now I want everyone to start writing with me.
Wait, can I leave because I have to study for chemistry?
Yes,
like
you can.
self-study.
Fine.
Okay.
Check the recording.
Have
Now,
a nice-
author name, we have book name, a book title. All of this should be there. Book title. You should also have the setting, characters. That's it. Let's say protagonist, not the character, but the protagonist. Who is the protagonist? That's the main character. So let's write it down. So first paragraph, let's start. Now I want you to write this only, not the one which I'm writing. So I'll start it like this. Again, it should have a title. By the way, before you write the first paragraph, you should have a title. Title of review. Now, what kind of title can I have for my review? For the title of review, it must be catchy and attention grabber. So Before we even write the review, we have to choose, we have to decide a book. Okay. What books can I choose? Give me suggestions, anyone. Najla, Sumaya, give me
There
name
is
of
a
a book.
book. There's a book called The Idiot Brain.
The Idiot Brain, all right. Anyone else? Sumaya, give me a name of a book.
I don't know any.
Don't know any. What about Rania? Mavadda? Rania, Mavadda, tell me a name of a book.
It ends with us.
Ends with us.
Yes.
I need the full name, by the way. Let's
November
try.
9.
Okay, what about this book? Mission Impossible. Have you seen the movie for this?
No. No, but I
No?
have heard of it.
Heard of
Yeah.
it. Okay, has everyone heard of this? Mission Impossible.
No.
No. Okay. I think I'll show it to you. Have you heard about Harry Potter?
Yes. Of
Yes.
Has everyone heard? Yes, everyone has this. Okay, that's good. Let's try Harry Potter. Now, another thing you should mention in the first paragraph, please start writing this, is the genre of the book. Okay, what is the meaning of genre? Genre means what kind is it? Is it adventure, or let's say type of book? Is it adventure? Is it scientific? Is it all of those? I'll give you examples. What genre you can have: sci-fi, adventure. You can have horror, comedy, all of these. Let's start. Now, first thing is I'll start with, I'll give a title. The best, let's say, or most adventurous of adventures, Harry Potter. Now that is like a title. It's catchy. Okay, it's interesting. You can use any title you like. Now it should be something which is catchy. I can also say, let's say, the Wizard of, what was the name of his house? What was the school?
Hogwarts.
Hogwarts. So the Wizard of Hogwarts, Harry Potter. Let's say the greatest wizard of Hogwarts. So all of these are fine, right? These are, you can use any of these. Let's try. Okay, that's fine. Let's move on. Now after this we have the author name. Okay, so we started like this. Harry Potter. Give me a name of the book. Any parts of it? Anyone knows?
So what do we have to give?
Name of any Harry Potter book.
Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban.
Azkaban, right? That makes sense. Right, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. That also works. You can add anyone you like. Stone is another, let's say, another masterpiece. Masterpiece, beautifully written by J.K. Rowling. Okay, or we can also say, instead of another, we can say is another adventure masterpiece. or you can write it separately. Other masterpiece. It is an adventure novel that, let's say, that revolves around the mysterious and mesmerizing tales of Harry Potter, of the protagonist, Harry Potter. So what have I mentioned so far? I've mentioned the author name, I've mentioned the book title, I've mentioned the genre, which is adventure, adventure novel. I've mentioned the protagonist. What is missing? Quick, tell me what is missing over here in the checkbox.
Setting.
The main
Setting.
character.
The main character is the protagonist. Who is the main character? Harry Potter. So I've given the name.
Setting.
Setting. Now I have to write the setting. What is the setting? Let's. I want you to write it in your notebook. What is setting? Setting is basically place, time, and let's say people. Okay. So let's say, what is the setting? Basically, we focus on the time. So let's say the story is set in, let's say, 18th century, when wizards roamed all over Britain. Or let's say in 18th century Britain, when wizards roamed all over the world. So we realize the place is Britain and the location is 18th century. Okay, so we have to give that as well. So that finishes our first paragraph. Any questions?
No, sir.
No.
No.
All right. Now I'll give one more thing. Are you ready for the greatest adventure? And then I'll put a question mark. Now, what is this? This is called a rhetorical question. When you ask a question, so you should ask a question in the beginning to grab the attention. Let's see if what is a rhetorical question. I mentioned it right here. In the last class, we saw that we should have rhetorical questions. Read the highlighted word, Rania.
Rhetorical questions.
Rhetorical questions. So in the intro, I want you to put one rhetorical question as well, and we're done. Now we're not focusing much on style right now. We're just looking at the content. The content is everything is there. Now let's focus on the next paragraph. What is the next paragraph about? It's about the content of the book. I've given the title and the stuff, a little bit about the book. Now we'll talk about the plot of the book. What is the story about? Now before we write anything in the body, let's make a plan. The body should have, or let's say the plot should have one chapter, let's say one small chapter, many characters, or let's say character development. Telling about world. And especially, let's say the main villains and everything. It's the main story. Character development means telling about the villain, telling about the heroes, etc. Now, how can I do that? Let's start. Now, I can say, but look, whenever I start a paragraph, I have to start with a linking word. So I say, firstly, Harry Potter is, I'll talk about the characters, right? So Harry Potter is one of the, or let's say firstly, the story begins with Harry Potter boarding a train. to Hogwarts, the school for wizards. Okay, that's basically what's happening. Then we can, what else can I say? Someone give me suggestions. Anything about the story? Let's write the points here. Give me something about the story, quick. I want one from Avadha, one from Najla, one from Sumaya, one from Diana.
Sir, what do
Sir,
you
I
mean, like
said now
something
everything.
about
You don't have to say
What
anything,
do
you just have to make something up. Just think of something, make something up. What can happen in an
about what?
adventure? About this, the plot, about the story of Harry Potter. Can you think of anything?
Sir, I watched all the movies, but I don't know what to say.
Okay, then I'll tell you something. All right.
Can I have
Now,
say one?
tell me.
Like about the dark wizard who intends to become immortal.
Okay, so there's some dark wizard who intends to become immortal. Dark wizard who's Voldemort. Let's not say his name. Who intends to become immortal. All right, that's one point. I got one thing. Now to hurry things up, I'll just give you all the points. We'll talk about Harry Potter, character development. What is character development? I have to talk about who are these people. So I'll say Harry Potter is an orphan who grew up with his aunt, right? Let's say he grew up with his aunt, and we can say Harry is not loved by his aunt and uncle. That's basically the first thing.
We can
Now,
also
what
say
else
how
can I
he
say?
was left by his friends.
So
We
left
can
by,
mention his
okay.
friends.
So he was mocked by his old stepbrother, I think stepbrother, or let's say older brother, and his school friends. Okay, then what happens was that he gets receives a strange letter for admission into Hogwarts. That's basically first chapter. Okay, and let's say receives a strange letter. That's what happens. Let's talk about that now. So instead of saying the story begins with Harry Potter boarding a train to Hogwarts, that's too much. Let's instead say the story begins with Harry Potter sleeping on the, let's say, doing housework, let's say doing chores, and being scolded by his aunt. Then I'll talk about Harry. Harry is an orphan whose parents were mysteriously and tragically killed in an accident. Now, you need to realize a few things. What do you realize here? That I'm using lots of what do you say? Lots of adjectives. Mysteriously, tragically. Okay. Now you have to use these to make your writing better. Now, Harry is unloved. Let's say we'll add another adjective here. Terribly unloved by his aunt and uncle. And put a comma here. And constantly, let's say, mocked by his friends. However, suddenly everything changes. I'm using a exclamation mark here. Why do we use exclamation mark? To give some kind of shock, some drama. Okay. What happens after that? He receives. He receives a letter of admission to the great visitory school of Hogwarts. Now, what else can I write here? What I can say is that, well, he received this, okay. At first, let's say, uh, okay. Now, whenever you write a story, you need to add a few things, such as we have to talk about the one small chapter, the characters, but we haven't talked about the villain, have we? So we're done talking about Harry. Let's talk about someone else. On the other side of the world, lies an evil wizard, Voldemort. Then we'll just put hyphens here. Better not say his name. Who intends to become immortal. I will end this paragraph by the story is all about Harry witnessing, or let's say realizing, his special powers, and along with his friends Hermione, and I don't know the other person, and let's say Alex, and eventually defeating, well, let's not say that, and eventually facing off with Voldemort. Now we have this much so far. Now what that should be enough.
Sir, do we
Now
have to write all of this?
you have to write all of this. Now we can make it shorter actually, a little bit. Let's say, just a second, let me check the word limit. That's 50 words, and that is 100 words. All right, so all of this right now is about 150 words. This whole, and then your letter has to be how many words? Well, okay, that has to be 150 words. Okay, let's remove a few things. We can remove, let's say, let's remove the unloved part. That's enough. Now, this is 45 words, and this is 70 words. How many words are left? Tell me quick.
35.
35. Now we
I
need to make
guess.
this one. No, yep, 35. We'll talk about these things. Let's make this a bit shorter. I think that's enough. Let's continue. Now the next thing is, and we do think we have overdone the first part. Okay. Let's change this a bit. Now you have 50 words remaining. All right. Now I have a habit of writing to a lot more than you guys, because in A levels you have to write letters which are 900 words. All right. So, but you guys have only 150 words. So we need to make sure that the beginning is not too long actually, and even the plot is not too long. That's one of the difficult parts. Now we cannot change this by decreasing the number of paragraphs. That's not the thing that's happening. Now, plot is done. What is the next thing? Which is the opinion of the book, right? In this, you'll write what you felt, how it affected you. Examples. Now let's write a few notes on this. Whenever we're writing our opinion, we need to have how you felt. Let's say I felt, let's say I learned a lot about friendship from, let's say, from Hermione, let's say from Harry and his friends. That's one thing we can talk about. We can say how it, what did you like, your opinion, the book, let's say, is amazing, or let's say beautifully written, very engaging. These are some things you can write. Very engaging. It is, let's say, very engaging throughout the story. You can't put it down, or let's say, many action scenes. But these are some things we can mention. Now, when you're writing this, how do we write it? Well, we'll start with another linking word, let's say secondly. How you felt? I felt, I can say, this book has taught me the values of bravery and friendship. J.K. Rowling does an amazing job, let's say a fantastic job in masterminding the action scenes and world building. The book is interesting throughout and impossible to put down. Now, what's happening here? You mentioned a few things. You mentioned everything. What has the book taught you? You gave an example about action scenes, world building, and you also described your opinion that the book is interesting throughout, and it's impossible to put down. Now, these are phrases. Let's check the number of words on this. That's 35 words right here. 30 words. Now at the end, we write one more thing. We'll write the recommendation. Who you're recommending, who and why. Now, who would you recommend this book? I need the answer from Diana. Who would you recommend this book to?
My friends, classmates,
Friends, classmates, all right.
cousins.
Lula, who would you recommend it? Okay, cousins, friends, classmates. Okay, let's write it here. One thing we need to write is who. Now, this is an adventure book. So we'll say everyone, let's say, we can say adventure lovers. Okay, we can write those who like magic, or students interested in great tales, magic. You can say that. You can also say what other thing can you describe about this? We can say people who love action scenes. You have to be more detailed in our writing. We can't just say friends, cousins, or school classmates. We can say students. But we have to say why. So we have to say like what kind of people. So adventure lovers, or people who like tales of magic, or people who love action scenes, right? All of these. So how do I write this? Well, before we write it, let's say why will I recommend it? I'll recommend it because it's amazing. Not only let's say thrilling fight scenes, many, let's say, magic spells. For the last one, for the adventure one, we can say adventure at every page. Now, what are we doing here? Why? We're basically saying these are the people who are you recommending to, and why are you recommending to these people? Because if you're recommending to adventure lovers, you have to say that there's adventure at every page. If you're recommending to students who like magic, you'll say there are many magic spells. If you're talking about people who love action scenes, we'll say that they're thrilling fight scenes. Let's write it. Now quickly, I need one of you. Let's say Najla, choose any of these. The first one, second one, or third one.
Students interested in great tales of magic.
Magic. So let's write that down. Lastly, we always start with a linking word. Look, firstly, secondly, lastly. We'll say this is a must-have for every student who isn't, or let's say who is fascinated by great tales of magic. Now, people who love, okay, that's fine. What did I write about magic? I wrote about magic spells. So I'll give an example here. Harry Potter, or let's say this book, has several wizards and magic spells at every page. Now we'll put some adjectives here as well. So we'll say several brave wizards, and we'll say mysterious or mesmerizing magic spells at every page. Now that finishes the review. Just a second. Now, one thing I need to tell you that now I think this is an old paper. The word limit is I think 200, right? So the maximum you can write is 200. It has to be between 150 to 200. Anything more than that will not be checked. So this, the one which we have right here, is about 150. So it's 150. That's good. Now let's read it once, and before we read it, let's go through it. Let's analyze it. Okay. Now, how did I begin? Let's recap everything. Lola, can you tell me what important features are required in the title? Tell me.
The title to be catchy, so that the readers can be attracted to it.
Attracted to it. That's the title. Now, second, the first paragraph. What should the first paragraph have? Najla, tell me. Important details about first paragraph.
Intro, the author name, and the book title.
Okay, and the setting as well, and the protagonist. Now, the protagonist is Harry Potter, actually. Right? Now, next thing is the plot. What should be there? A small chapter about it, the characters. You tell about the world and basically the main thing about it. Something a little bit, a small chapter of the book. So we mentioned about his aunt. We talked about his parents. Now, Mawadda, tell me, what should we have in the opinion?
Sir, what does the waiting room?
Say that again.
She's in the waiting room.
She's in the waiting room. All right. Then Rania, tell me, what should be included in the opinion?
What you felt, how it affected you.
Examples.
Mm.
So let's say what you felt. Okay, so you felt you learned. So this book taught you a lot about the bravery and friendship. That's basically what you learned or felt. Now, okay, that's what you learned. You learned the values of bravery and friendship. How did it affect you? Well, this is how you. This all of these come under that you learned the bravery and friendship. Another thing you saw was that example for this would be J.K. Rowling does a fantastic job at masterminding the action scenes and the world building. That's the example. The last thing is the book is interesting throughout and impossible to put down. That's again your opinion, this part. Now, I would like to change a few things. Let's see how we can improve it. Okay. So we can improve it by adding a few things, such as, let's see in the style. In the style we mentioned dialogues and quotes. Can you see this?
Yes.
So, Mawadda, read this part out loud.
Dialogues and quotes.
And read the second one.
Onomatopoeia.
Onomatopoeia. Now let's try to add these in our writing. How do we do that? Firstly, what are dialogues and quotes? We know that dialogues look like this.
Something that someone said.
Someone said, or something that someone said, basically, right? Quotation. This is how you do it. You put comma, then the double quotes. And for onomatopoeia, we have done that already. It's basically words that describe a sound. Let's try adding it over here. Does a fantastic job. Now, since it's 150 words, all right, we can add a few words. We can go maximum till, let's say, I would prefer that he only go maximum till 180. Okay, depends on the question, especially. But the maximum you can go is 180, nothing more than that. We'll only add a few words to this. We'll say, hours, let's say hours, greatly thrilled by the when. And I'll put a comma, then I'll put double quotes. Diana, can you think of any scene or any movie scene from the book that you like? Or Mavada, can you think of a movie scene from the book? Anything that must have been said in the movie? Nothing? Should I give you an example?
Like, is it a quote that he have said?
Yeah, he has said or something. Maybe he has said, right? Or something that has happened.
Okay, then
Look over here. Look. Can you see this part right here? Can you see the clip on the screen?
yes.
Yes. Now we're watching a movie. Now you have Harry. Okay, look at this quote right here. Come on, Tom, let's finish this the way we started. And they fall off. You see that? So I'll show it to you just a second. Can you hear it?
No.
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 Now?
No.
Yes.
Now can you hear it?
Come on, Tom. Let's finish this the way we started.
Well, it doesn't matter. What that's happening
Or
is we have
when
the
he
quote
has
given.
said,
What else?
Come on, Tom, let's finish this the way we started. And then they fall down. Decided over here. I was greatly, let's say,
or when he
thrilled
said, I'm not going to be
when
murdered.
Voldemort, or greatly, let's say, when Voldemort said, let's say, Voldemort jumped off a valley,
Sir, we can't see the
off a
whiteboard.
cliff. Good timing. Let's finish this how we started it.
Sir, we can't see the whiteboard.
I want you to read this line out loud, quick. Hurry up.
Sir, the
Diana, read this
whiteboard, we
line.
can't see it.
Diana, can you hear me?
Yes.
يلا شكرا ما يسمعنا.
Mavada,
Yeah.
read the line, quick.
Sir, we can't
Sir,
hear
we
you.
can't hear you. I mean, we can't see the whiteboard.
I cannot hear you, cannot. Now can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, so continue reading. You can't
Sir,
see
the
the book.
whiteboard.
Yes, all right. All right, okay. Now can you see the board?
Yes.
Yeah.
I couldn't hear you at all. Come on, continue.
I was greatly thrilled when Voldemort said, let's finish this how we started it, and jumped off a cliff with Harry.
Cliff with Harry. That does it. We had that. Now, okay. Done. We can also add onomatopoeia here by saying he receives a letter of admission into the Great Wizardry School of Hogwarts. Let's say a crashing letter, or let's say he scolded harshly by his aunt. And the harshly is another, describes the sound that is being made, right? Another thing you could have is that's about it. All right. Now I want you to try adding the content first, and we look at the style afterwards again. Okay. Now, can we recap what we did in this class? Hurry up. Lula, recap.
In this class, we learned how to write and review in all 4 paragraphs. And in the first paragraph, we should, if we're writing a review for a book, we have to write an intro, author name, book title,
All right,
genre.
stop. Sumaya, continue. What else did we do?
Sumaya is not here.
Sumaya is not here. Then Rania, continue.
And then we'll do the opinion, what you felt and how you were affected with examples, and recommendation to like to people who would you would think like would like the book, and why.
That's about it. Why?
Yeah.
So we must give a reason why and who you're recommending it to. We look at more letters afterwards, much better letters than this. Now this one, which we have made right here in the exam, if I think this is out of 16, would only get a 13 out of 16. That's one thing, because there's a lot of things missing. Now, Harry Potter is a book that you can write so much about. But our job is to add more details. Now today our goal was to understand all the content and have all the examples and everything there. Right? If you can manage only this, then you can get the A star. But there's a lot more we'll do in the next class. We'll continue with improving writing with style techniques, or style and basically literary devices. That's it. Let's stay for a second.